Citizens Forum on the Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9 FM. This morning, we are again looking into another industrial dispute, just as it was in the medical sector. This morning, of course, many of us we are aware that we have an industrial action, the strike action going on within our universities. The academic staff union, that is those who teach, do the actual teaching in our universities, are on strike. Well, those are many of us, parents, students, and brothers, friends expect or look up to when that strike action will be over. It appears that the signs are not coming better, as another arm of workers in the university system may also join the strike, which means that our session may be elongated. So those who think it's getting to an end, well, don't be disappointed with that. Well, again, the issue of this group of those who are warming up is actually not new. It's like what we call a bottle up effect issue, because they will also tell you we signed an agreement many years ago and that agreement has not been honored. Or if they've answered this group of people, they must also look at our own issue. So it's not uhuru yet within our university or education system. Remember, the admission issue is on. It's about time for this university to begin to process the admission of these students. And this category of those who are warming up for the strike action are those who will get involved in the admission. The Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, that's the group I'm talking about, warming up. They're already mobilizing their staff, their members, to join that strike action, another indefinite action. So the for fight, you may want to say, continues. Dele Ayodo is my name.
And I am Chienye Egwuonwu. Good morning and welcome to Citizens Forum.
All right, straight on, we have the FUNAAB, Federal University of Agriculture Branch Chairman of the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, with us, Mr. Rotimi Fasuwon. Good morning.
Good morning, Dele.
So, Mr. Fasuwon, is it true that other group of workers in the university may also be joining the strike action?
Well, thank you very much. You are on the right path. The non-teaching staff unions of the Nigerian university system are actually mobilizing. We have actually mobilized our members, and we are preparing to just get the kickoff from our national leaders.
So when you say the non-teaching staff, so it's not just the Senior Staff Association, is that what you mean?
Exactly.
Oh, that's it. Then what then are the issues this time around?
Well, let me clear it first that the non-teaching staffs we are talking about, 3 unions. That is the NAT.
That's Transition of Technology.
That's the National Association of Academic Technologies. NASU, National Association, National Non-Academic Staff Union of the Nigerian Universities. Then we have SSANU, the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities. Together we form a JAC, and together we have mobilized our members and preparing for the strike action to commence.
So what are the issues?
The issues are very clear, and we can put it in a 10-point agenda. And let me state clearly that we are not just coming up with these issues. They have been there for more than 10 years. And the government is aware of it. I believe the public is also aware of it. And the issues has to do with, 1, poor governance. If you want me to expatiate, I will, but if you just want me to list first, maybe I should just list first. We talk about poor governance in the university system. We talk about inadequate physical infrastructure and the abandonment of projects in the university system. We talk about poor funding of our university system. We also talk about lack of adequate teaching and early facilities. So also is the shortfall in payment of salaries, which has commenced for more than 2 years now. And another one is the non-payment of the earned allowances, which was part of the allowances agreed upon in the 2009 FGN unions agreement. We also have the non-registration of the NUPENCO, which has to do with administration and management of the pension concerning the university staff. We talk about disengagement of our university staff in the primary school section, that is the university's primary school. All the staffs can say government directed that they should be disengaged, and they have not been paying their salaries for the past 2 years. Also is the non-implementation of negotiated career structure to the level of contest 14 and 15 for the technologists. We also talk about increased corruption in the university system. That one, everybody has been a big issue in the media for quite some time now. Also, recently you'll be hearing about renegotiation by the government with the university unions. But here we're talking about lack of seriousness on the part of government concerning this renegotiation of the 2009 FGN unions agreement. And then, lastly, is the usurpation of headship of non-teaching units and directories by our academic colleagues.
Okay, if we had all these issues, if you had all these issues for 10 years now, why bring it up now that ASU is on strike?
Please, we need to correct an impression. Some have been saying that, are you joining ASU in solidarity strike?
That's what it seems.
That is what it seems, but it is not.
Okay,
it's not at all.
That impression.
Yeah, thank you. The issues have been there for quite a long time. And at the level of JAC, of these non-teaching unions, we have been magnanimous enough to ensure that the academic calendar of our university systems, just because we have sympathy for our children, that we don't truncate the academic calendar. And that is why we continue to write a reminder to the government almost every time that we have a NEC meeting. We have NEC meeting every quarter of the year. So that is to tell you that in a year we will have been writing the government 4 times in a year for the past 10 years. You can multiply that. That will be like 40 letters to the government.
All right, let's begin to look at some of those points you've raised. Interestingly, first for me is the issue of your readiness for your querying government that increased corruption in the university system. When you say increased corruption in the university system, and some people will quickly say strike action, total strike action, adequate to fight that?
Yes.
Or no other means in which you can do that, because those who are involved in that practice, the corruption, are not government. They are part of your members, or they are part of the university or the school system.
Well, let me say they are part of the school system. Yeah, indeed, the reason why that has become an agitation by JAC is the fact that in the last 2-3 years, the non-teaching staff have been the one suffering the issues of this corruption. In the last 2-3 years, in many universities in this country, many of non-teaching staffs have been suspended, sacked, even to the point of losing their jobs at the expense of complaining or reporting that there's immense corruption within the university system. Why this is why we're bringing this up is not because of anything, but we are trying to tell the government that you have to do more. You have to protect.
What I'm saying is this: if you want to fight this, do you think we will achieve results better? Because the level, the style, the magnitude manner from will be different from one school to the other, and therefore does not need a coalition of force to do this. It can better be done by picking up each institution with its own peculiarity and fight them.
Mr. Dele, we have to let the government know that issues within the university system as it concerns corruption has to be tackled holistically. It's not about picking one or two universities. This thing is affecting our members almost on a daily basis. We still have some universities where some of our members have been out of their job for almost a year now just because they reported issues of corruption. And we cannot continue to sit down. The government should use their agencies to do that which is right.
Okay, the other issue is end salary. Of course, when you say end salary, that's supposed
end allowance.
End allowances. That supposes that it is not everybody that will deserve that. I want to say end because you have to earn it. Am I right?
Well, when you say it is not everybody, I am telling you that there is nobody in the university system that doesn't have one allowance or the other, depending on the category or the cadre it belongs to. We are saying that
it is the use of the word "end" because when there are two different things. When you say allowance,
let me explain. And every category of staff has its duties and responsibilities, and there are allowances that are accrued to those responsibilities. What we are saying is that these responsibilities were agreed with the government in 2009 FGN agreement, but up to today, none of those allowances have been implemented as part of the salary. These allowances are not just, and they are supposed to be part of the salary. In those days, when you check your pay slip, you see basic salary, you see the allowances listed. But today, what do we see? You see the basic and all the allowances are off there. So there is no category of staff that doesn't have. We are saying implement it as it's supposed to be.
Again, is this a general problem?
It is.
To all universities.
It is.
It's all the universities.
All the universities. All the universities. All the universities.
And for how long has that been?
Since 2009.
Almost 8 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I would want to ask if you people have the students at heart. Because if we have over 40 million students who came out this morning to beg the president and giving them 2-week ultimatum to resolve this issue, and then you guys are warming up to go on strike, do you have the students at heart at all?
Yes, we do. Like I've told you, the non-teaching unions have written up to 40 letters to the government.
So are you saying no negotiations at all? They have not paid any?
They paid part of the arrears in 2012. And since 2012 to date, they reneged in doing so. Actually, what they're supposed to do is to have made it part of the monthly pay, which that's the normal thing, but deliberately they just remove it. So it's not about, we've been trying to ensure that the academic calendar is smooth and is running at the expense of the workers, just because we want the students to graduate and at least have a relief. But the government seems not to appreciate that from our end. I also appreciate the students for giving the government 2 weeks because they understand, I believe they understand the issues. It's not about we going on a strike now, but the fact that they understand the issues and they know that this thing is not about we just wanting to down too, but the government has actually not fulfilled its own part of an agreement signed over 8 years ago.
Okay, each time you write, each time you write the federal government, What has been their attitude, their reply to your letters?
It has been very foreign. Each time we write, there is always a response that we should remain calm. This will be done. This will be added to the budget. Take, for instance, in 2015, January 2015, Jack decided that we would embark on an indefinite strike. But looking at the political situation at that time, the presidential election was just like a month. We attended the next meeting and looked at the political situation. We felt this is not the right time. Let us not create another tension in this country. We shelved it and we wrote to the government, led by His Excellency President Ebele Jonathan. And immediately Buhari came on board, President Buhari came on board. In October 2015, the Implementation Monitoring Committee, headed by Mr. Babalakin, wrote to the President the estimate, the accrued amount, which was 150 billion then. And we got a response that we shouldn't worry, it will be part of the 2016 budget. The 2016 budget came, it went. There was nothing like that in the budget. Ditto 2017, nothing. And so, you see, what has really triggered this is that there's been a circular now from the Minister of Budget and Planning, Udoma, and saying that the circular, the 2018 budget, they should begin the processing, and at the same time they should remove the names of all the staff school teachers from it, telling us that even what they have promised to be included in the budget in 2015, which was not done, 15, 16, 17, will still not be done.
But let's okay, Chienye, come with your question.
No, go on.
Okay, defend this. Why should federal government or government run staff school for the schools? Why can't you run it as a program, the schools?
Staff schools?
Yes.
You mean the universities should run?
Yes.
You are encouraging privatization of the educational system in this country. That is not supposed
to be.
But
the universities are charging different form of it. What do they call this one after giving you admission? Acceptance levy.
You are talking of staff school.
Yeah, if you are saying that we are encouraging privatization of education, already the cost of even the tertiary education is already rising. Different unheard of headlines of fees being paid. That's why I mentioned the acceptance fee and all those ones. So why should government run a staff school? Why can't you run it as a department and for?
Let us take it this way. First of all, it is unethical to privatize education for our youths in this country. It is unethical. It's a government responsibility. And it has been part of the responsibility of government since the inception of the university system. The staff school has been a department in the university. All the staffs were employed. Most of these ministers we are talking about today attended staff schools. Why should you have a university, a public university, not considering that the students in the university will not just jump there to get to the university level? They start from the primary school. And even today, the government says it is compulsory from the level of primary 1 to, is it 6, 3, 3, 4? At least the first 9 years of a child education should be free. And so if a government is having that policy and now indirectly privatizing that same sector of the education system, I think we should ask questions.
Okay, Mr. Fasuwon, quickly, let's look at the statement by the NASU General Secretary, that's Peter Adeyemi. He said that it's important to sound a note of warning to the federal government that they would be treading a very dangerous path if they take the non-academic unions for granted. Am I right?
You're
And then
correct.
he also said that if they take their maturity for granted and concede to the demands of ASU and fail to address their own demands as well, then they will show the government that they can not just back, but can equally bite.
It's correct.
Are they justified by using that statement? And then I see rivalry. I perceive rivalry from that. Why, if they attend to ASU's demands and then if theirs are not met, then why should that be?
Let me say there is no rivalry in his statement. He has only confirmed the fact that in a university system, you have two categories of staff: the teaching and the non-teaching staffs. And the two of these two categories must work together to make the system run perfectly. And so the government, a reasonable government, would not consider handling the issues of one category of staff and leave the others, because none of them can work in isolation. And that's just what he's trying to say. And when he's talking about the majority, what he actually means there is that these non-teaching unions, we have been magnanimous enough for the past 8 years, rather than embark on consistent strikes. We've continued to look at the situation of the country, the security, and then our children, and we've restrained ourselves from going to strikes. But it seems this government is determined not to do anything in terms of its own responsibility.
Okay, one of the problems you listed is poor governance.
Yes.
Yeah, so could you explain that? Poor governance in what sense?
Well, when we talk about poor governance, we are actually telling the government that they have skewed the university administration and governance to just one group of people. Just like I've said, the university is comprised of teaching and non-teaching staffs. The act that established the universities in this country have made the people that comprise the governance, the composition, particularly let's say that of the council, 99% teaching staffs. And that has really affected the well-being of the non-teaching staffs, because that is the organ that takes decisions that runs the university. And so we have discovered that in most cases, you don't have a voice. The non-teaching don't have a voice in the administration and management of the university system. And we are asking the government to look into this. It's a matter, is something that has to do with the act that established the university. It's not, we can't do anything except the government looks into it and makes a change.
If you are just joining us, this is the program Daybreak Show on Rock City 101.9 FM Citizens Forum this morning. We are looking at another impending strike action within our university system. And we have with us the FUNAAB Chapter Chairman of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, Mr. Rotimi Fasuwon. Mr. Fasuwon, do we now have a date or a day for the strike to commence?
Well, Mr. Dele, I will speak from the point of authority that I know. I know that today, at the national level of the three non-teaching unions, the JAG at the national level will be meeting today, maybe around 12 p.m., to take a decision on when the strike will actually commence. But in actual fact, as of last week, we have been directed to mobilize. We've done a kind of referendum. The results have been sent to the national, which will be considered today. And whatever the outcome of the referendum is, will determine the way forward.
What the referendum in your school? What's the result?
It's 100%. It's 100% support of the indefinite strike.
Okay, as an insider, what's your feeling? Do you think it will become a majority if it is taken to the national?
I foresee a majority vote in support of the indefinite strike, because we have actually waited for so long.
So if that is so are we looking at, say, a week or 2 weeks or 3 days or 5 days for the JAG to consider this report?
I should believe that by 6 p.m. today, we should have a definite date.
So that means we are looking at maybe next week.
probably.
Okay, what then do you think can be done to stop this?
Government has to act fast. They are aware of all these demands. They have received several letters and they are not denying any aspect of it. In fact, more than 90% of what we have here have been signed in agreement with the government. So all they need to do is to implement it.
Okay, can you just outline the rules of your union in that university?
Well, I'm the chairman of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities FUNAAB branch, and I want to tell you that the roles my members perform, we are the bedrock, because in my union you have all the professional. Just name it. Name any profession that you can talk of.
Every department
Every
outside the teaching.
outside the teaching, outside the teaching. You talk about lawyers. You talk about engineers. You talk about the doctors. You talk about the information and communication tech,
administrators,
accountants, the auditors, the farmers, and the artisans. They're all my members. And without all these people, the system cannot work.
Okay. The other issue is, why can't we have each university tackling its own problem by itself rather than seeking assistance from other members?
Other members
Like other unions. For instance, why can't FUNAAB Abekta here handle his own issue, let FUTA handle his, or let UI handle his?
there is no public university in Nigeria that is independent on its own. We are all under the control of the Ministry of Education, although recently the universities of Agric are now under the control of the Ministry of Agric. So we are all controlled by the National Universities Commission. So invariably we are all under one body that controls the affairs of the universities. There's nothing you can do alone. Nothing. The university is not independent.
Okay, lastly, before we take the break for the national news at 10, is strike the end result? Has it been effective so far? All your days working in the university, do you think it's been effective?
Is that the only weapon that can be used?
It is the last weapon that is always used. When you have taken all the steps, you negotiate, you have meetings together, you dialogue. When it fails, the only way is you embark on strike, just because we don't need to carry arms.
Do you think it's been effective? That's the other side of the question. Do you think strike has been effective?
Partly it has been effective. It may not be total.
All right, before we take the break, can we just run through some of the messages, if we can deal with that?
Okay.
You can deal with that.
Okay, let's check. We don't have any for now.
All right. Yes, I keep sending those messages. We have Comrade Rotimi Fasuwon of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, FUNAAB Chapter. Here we are talking about the pending strike. We've just been told that it's a matter of days than matter of weeks that we will see the associations, the three different associations in Nigerian universities, call out its members for another nationwide strike action. 32120, that's the number to send those messages to. But you have to type ROCK first. That is very important before you type your message and forward it to the number 32120. Our Twitter handle is also working perfectly. The address is at Rock City FM, and of course our Facebook page is there for you to use. Let's see, if we can take two calls, squeeze it and see if the chairman will answer them. 08098687344, 09091469670. Those are the two numbers. But please, it's important that we keep to the rules. We won't take insult or abuse on any individual or personality as you make your comment. Don't come out with claims that cannot be substantiated, and again move away from the radio. Please, it's very important. Move away from the radio while you're putting that call through. Thank you.
Okay, we have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Chienye.
Good morning.
And yes, good morning, everybody in the studio. And my question is simple and straightforward. I want to ask the audience there, that staff school they are talking about, was it the federal government that established it or the universities to cater for their own children and other children outside? Why are they now forcing that staff school on the federal government? It's the federal government that established it, why it is understood. But if not, they should look for ways and means on how to keep that school or scrap it completely. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, next call.
Okay, we lost that call. 0809-868-7344 or 0909-146-9670. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, morning.
Yeah, good morning. This is Israel from Chienye.
Thank you for calling.
Yes. My take this morning and my response to the guests in the house is number one. Is this strike going to yield a positive result looking at the number of days we've embarked on it? And secondly, I will personally commend the spirit of these leaders of union currently on the strike, because God won't actually forgive them if they actually call the strike now. Are these not these members find themselves 70 million naira card spending 136 billion naira on pilgrimage, and they cannot even see reasons to address the lingering issues of the strike? Thank you very much.
All
Thank
right,
you, Israel.
thank you.
We pick one more call. Hello. Hello, we have you. Good morning. Hello. Okay, we lost that call.
0809868734. Hello.
Hello.
All right, sorry, please call back when you have that radio switch off. This is very important, please. Very, very important. As important as your call. Have your radio moved away from where you are. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
This is Dele from local government.
Okay.
I just want to commend our own governor, Ibikula Mosu, for the great work that he's doing at the I really commend him.
Sorry.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Let's take this call. Hello. All right, you call back when you have the radio off. Thank you. 0909146967. Hello. All right, okay. Mr. Fasuwon.
There are two questions. The first
Yes.
one said, is it the federal government that established the staff schools? The federal government established all the public universities. And in it, the universities have the powers to create directorates, units, departments for the smooth running. And a unit in the university is the staff school, which government have recognized and approved over a long period of time as a developmental program for the university system. It's just in 2013 that the Salaries and Wages Commission came up with a circular saying that this category of people should be removed from the payroll after many years. Take, for instance, all other agencies, MDAs, have the military have their staff schools, the police, many other MDAs like that have their staff schools.
But many of these, they are not run by the government. They are run by those agencies themselves. The police staff school, the army schools that are in the bars, they are run by the government agencies itself, not by the federal government.
Please, Mr. Dele, I would say you should try to find out more about that, because we have.
They only give guidelines, policies. I know that of the army schools. They are run by the Nigerian Army and not by the Ministry of Education of federal government.
In 2009, there was an agreement by the federal government and the staff unions. That the capital and recurrent uh, expenditure of the staff schools be borne by the federal government, while that of secondary schools in the university system be borne by the university. So there are two categories. When you are talking of primary school, based on the policy of government that every child should have a free education from your, is it 6-3, the first 9 years.
I think it's 6-3-3.
Yes, the first 9 years.
Okay, can we address it? You want to speak on the other one because we have to take the break?
Yes, Oshele, the caller from Oshele, is the strike going to be positive way? He actually answered some of it by telling us that there's all the lifestyle of our leaders cannot even tell us we are in a recession period. It's just that for those of us that are really doing the work, we are bound to be punished while they take everything. This country is rich enough.
Okay, that's it for this part on Citizens Forum on the Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9 FM. But before we do the break, begin to send in your messages via the short code 32120. First you type rock, then you leave a space, type your message, include your name, and send it to 32120. And the Twitter handle, tweet at us at Rock City FM. For the Facebook fan page, Rock City 101.9 FM. Just keep those comments coming in via those platforms. Our guest will still be here with us right after the national news at 10. Stay with us.
And we are educating you. We are informing you on different different projects of our society. And this morning we are looking at the academics, the universities, and the pending strike action by the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian or non-teaching staff. Okay, I think that's a better language. Non-teaching staff, because it combines three other unions in the university. Non-teaching staffs in the universities. Yes, our guest, the chapter chairman of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian University, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Rotimi Fasuwon, has told us the strike action is expected to commence in a matter of days rather than weeks. Everything needed to be done to kick it off has been done. Mr. Fasuwon, I'm sure we're done with questions. Okay, straight on, let's get back to you. Do we have messages? Can we start with the messages of those who take the call?
Okay, we can start with the messages. We have this one from Abdurrashid Okinda from Abeokuta. If truly we want to fight corruption and succeed workers' salaries and wages, which must be paid promptly, why is it so difficult for Nigerian government to fulfill any agreement that is made by them? This is ungodly. Hope it's not because their children are not schooling in the country. It is the masses who can't afford their words studying abroad that suffers more. So by this, I implore labor and unions to be considerate in their demand. It's very disturbing. Okay, that was sent in by Abdurrashid Okinla. Then we have this one. During President Obasanjo's regime, all allowances were monetized. So why turn around to demand what you have already collected in the name of end allowance? That's a question, but you didn't include your name.
Okay, can you just let him take
Address
that?
that, okay.
Yes. Mr. Fashon.
Okay, I'll take it. On the issue of a monetization policy, that all allowances have been monetized. Indeed, it is not all allowances that were monetized. Most of these allowances we're talking about that were monetized were for the political office holders. But for basic responsibilities, you can monetize those ones because they keep changing depending on the economic realities
Of the period.
of the period.
Okay, we've gotten that only political office of holders has their allowances monetized. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, it seems Nigerian SANU is always competing with Nigerian ASU. That ASU does not need SANU is far from the truth. Yet, the responsibility of running and taking major decisions within the university resides with ASU. Okay, that's okay from Abeokuta who sent in that one. Then please be considerate of the students in your agitation. We have lost glow signals in Imeko for more than 3 days now. Okay, that's MD Olaleye from
Okay, you
Imeko.
have lost our signals in Imeko. All right. If that's the message, we ask our engineers to check that out. Thank you for that information.
Okay, then we have this one from Olushola Johnson. I work with the FAN. The staff school is not, okay, that's FAAN. The staff school is not run by FAN. You wish to find out this from the organization. So Dele is right. They force him too much problems on the federal government. Okay, that's from Olushola Johnson. Then we move to the next one from Ade. The government must be blamed for the strikes of both ASU and doctors. If government has the poor masses and children's education and health welfare of citizens at heart, they would have done the needful and they're not bothered because their children school abroad and families get treatment abroad when they're sick too, and no money to pay lecturers and doctors, but their own salaries and bogus allowances and exotic cars never cease. A responsible government shouldn't fail on agreement that is made over 8 years. That was sent in by Ade from Abeokuta. Then we can't afford to continue doing the same thing and expect different results. ASU and SANU should deploy the new strategy in pressing home their needs. Concerning schools, the current school fees that is being paid are more than some private schools. Why can't the universities run the secondary schools independently if government says it can no longer absorb the overhead? The position of the guest in the studio is not substantial. Okay, Kenny additional from Ashiro sent in that one. And then I have this one from Abdul Hakim from Iteko. The strike being experienced by this present government is due to the corruption and irregularity of the past government, which this present government is battling with and wants to eradicate. Any agreement that any union signed with a corrupt government is likely to be fraudulent. Okay, and then by successful government, the unions need to start a fresh negotiation with this present government, which will be implementable. That's that for the messages now.
All right, Mr. Fasuwon.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's better. It will be good to clear this issue of staff school.
Staff school fees.
When we talk about staff school, we are talking about the primary schools and not the secondary schools.
Okay, the one we refer to those are demonstration schools.
Yes,
Okay,
they are the
not the
primary,
secondary school.
and it's in line with the policy of government in this country that the first 9 years of education
Yes,
should
okay,
be
which is
free
supposed to
and
be free.
compulsory.
Okay, the primary school, yeah, free and
Yes, so
compulsory.
thank you for that. At the same time, this issue has been taken to court by the SANU at the National Industrial Court in Abuja, where judgment has been given in favor of SANU. That's as at December 5, 2016.
That's
And
about 9 months ago.
about 9 months ago, what we're asking the government is to implement that judgment for a government that claims to be following, to believe in the rule of law. What does it take it to implement? If the union has lost the court case, surely by now it will have been fully implemented.
So there's a standing court judgment
Yes,
on
sir.
that.
Yes.
All right, okay. We pick your calls now. 0809867 344.
Or 0909-146-9670. Hello,
Yeah, good morning.
good
Good
morning.
morning.
My name is Thomas Afanet from Agbado.
Thank you.
You see, supposing our leader recognize the American financial monetary system, that do not allow the buying slug money to appear in our system. 2 out of the 5 billion borrow supposed to be given to the ASU. So that the ASU can be well organized so the way that they will generate 80% of their expectation from by themselves through proper organization with the production of agro-tech. For example, for UNAB as a good example, we expected Nigeria economic community highly expected 80% for our agricultural technology for such department. And it says that technology is supposed to be well organized so the way that we help our GDP.
Thank you. You can conclude the NSF by using the short code.
Please, Comrade Olumide.
Thank you.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, we can hear you. Good morning, and thank you for joining
Yes,
us.
am I on?
Yes, you are.
Your 2 minutes
Yes,
is
I want to.
continuing.
I want to salute the courage of my comrade over there, Comrade Fasuwon. But there is an impression I want to correct that the impending strike coming from the non-teaching unions in the university in the staff school. Staff school issue is not the only issue. We have so many issues that is calling our is begging the attention of the government to act upon. Like for instance, when it comes to the Federal Institute of Agriculture, Abeokuta, yes, they are still a mandate. The mandate of teaching, research, and extension. And these three are what led to the product that we are producing, the students. They have to undergo this thing in terms of a theoretical aspect and start really exposing them to practicals, because that's what will build them up in future. What we are now saying that now, most of the laboratories now, let me talk about laboratories specifically, students are to be exposed to practicals in research. The capacity is not there to hold these students. Go to the federal universities in the country. The largest capacity that a practical class can hold is not 40 to 50. But here, the admission keeps on increasing. And this government is not employing.
Thank you. You are approaching your 2 minutes mark.
Where you have the laboratory scientists or technologies handling 500 to 1,800.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Of course, if you followed us at the beginning, if you joined us at the beginning, you know that he talked about 10 points, 10 different things that were highlighted apart, not just about the staff school or the secondary school, the primary school. Sorry. Hello.
Hello.
I'm the follow on the line.
All right. Your 2 minutes.
Good morning to Ike.
Good morning.
You see, please salute your courage. Many people have been suffering for so long. Let's keep quiet because of our own children. You know, we do not have money to sponsor our students in private institutions. We are left with no option. They send them to a public tertiary institution. So if people have been keeping quiet for so long because of us, and it's not time you cannot take it anymore, you are coming out, it's justifying. Nobody should come and start blackmailing you or saying that's something. It has no interest at all. But your struggle is our own struggle. When it's better for our own child, then it should be better for you also. You must have everything in place, take care of our own children. This is our own child, they must be taken care of. If the rich ones, if the those in power are taking their child out of the country to foreign institutions, then we must always struggle and make sure that our own in public institutions are well standard. To the extent that they will be even be interested to send a child to those schools. Those schools are not okay. That's why they are not taking the time to that school. So nobody should come and say it is the right time for you, and you are doing it at the right time. So make sure that you get a logical conclusion. Government must make sure that they do the needful, and any agreement that must be signed must not be too long interval, so that they will be able to implement it. They have money to buy cars, they have money to do a lot of. When it comes to education and those important things, they will be trying their way to space away from it. This is not good. That's the for coming out. I want you to make sure that you get a logical conclusion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm really, really shocked. I'm highly shocked. Of course, government must do the needful in any circumstance and must respect that this. And we are not must call for real negotiation because of the issues that are difficult to handle. But then, the imminent strike that we're talking about now is like a total collapse, total breakdown, or total closure of things passing on a definite strike, and this one is definitely a definite strike of 1%. And why I am highly disturbed, not that you don't have the right to strike, is that it's almost going back to what Professor Wole Soyinka suggested sometime ago. It's still with guys. Yeah. And I think something like that was done in Ghana as well. Would it not even have been better for the government to close down all institutions? This is just from the sideline and observatory. Because when you have total collapse like this, it's as good as what has been suggested as
all institutions should be closed down, and if appropriate restructuring and whatever has to be done should be done to make everything okay for our educational standards to be uplifted. But then, you close down health institutions because they are strikes, because you want to restructure. You close down every other arm of government because of that. I want the view of your union on this aspect.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
All right, thank you. Okay. He's taking note, he will react. Let's add 2 calls to it.
Good morning.
Morning.
Dele, I greet you. Good morning. Good morning, my sister.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nasu.
SSANU, sir.
SSANU.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Yeah. Look, just like the last plan started, we are not saying you should not go on strike. We are not saying you should not agitate for your salary and some other shortcomings coming down from the government side. You are entitled to all rights that belongs to you. But having said this, I want to ask you don't normally think independently at all. That probably you don't see that because ASU has gone on strike, then you too you must follow suit. I mean, why using the thoughts of others to maximize your own idea of thinking? And I want to take you up on primary school you are talking about. Even the ASU too, they don't have all that it takes to ask the federal government to begin to pay salary for people that they are probably the program. I mean, I would like to get an accreditation for programs that are there, but they are not giving opportunity. I mean, accreditation for primary school you are talking about. I don't know if we will speak. The settlement of the university salary scale to teachers in primary school, I don't think any government that is responsible will be looking towards that direction. If you want to establish a primary school or secondary school in your institution, it is left for you to do so, not to take the federal government into that side at all. So let us see how you can go in that direction and then probably have all other things that you are seeking for. Then leave the primary school to yourself alone. Answer to the cause of those.
Thank you, Kade. You're approaching your 2 minutes. Okay, let's add this one after that.
It from Mr. Kayode, who said, why are we always waiting for ASU to lead? Well, we have said it, I have said it categorically here that ASU is a union, while we are also separate unions. We have so many things in common because we work within the same system. So there are so many issues that are in common. And for the mere fact that ASU has been on strike now, I think it's about 3 weeks, we have not gone on strike. And that is because we don't want it to look like we are joining ASU. We have just concluded with our referendum and we are coming out. But I've said it before that we have written several letters to government, but they have not listened to us. So it's just the right time to do it. Now, Mr. Olanimashan suggested a total closure of institution like it was done in Ghana. I think we should look at the far-reaching effect. When you close down institutions for just 2 months, we cry. Not to talk of closing it down for like 2 years. We should consider the far-reaching effect of this 2 years closure in the near future. How is it going to affect our children, even with parents, and the society that we live in? For Mr. Detunji, he did mention something very germane. Said, why are we allowing new universities to be established? That's beyond the union's power. Establishment of new universities is at the discretion of government, but indeed our own suggestion is that the existing universities should be well equipped and expanded so that we can have many more academic programs and many more students coming in. But what do we see? Government, in the name of politics, trying to settle some zones and things like that, continue to add new universities without thinking about the infrastructures and how much it's going to take to build it up. My brother, Mr. Comrade Olurinde, yes, I mentioned even 12 12-point agendas that is leading us to this strike. It's just unfortunate that the our people out there have really concentrated on the staff school, and I want to believe it's because this has to do with our little children. And I've said it clearly that the staff school is just one of the 12 items, and it's non negotiable. Every Nigerian child must be educated. We don't have to have any reason to have illiterate children in this country. We have gone beyond that, and it's the responsibility of government. This government even used it as a campaign when they were coming on board. And Mr. Dion said, can we continue to use force? And don't we also realize that we have mirage victories? What is called mirage victory? You have taken time, you have, rather than take laws into your hands, rather than we embarking on strike as at 2016 January, we decided to follow the rule of law. We took the matter to court. It took almost more than a year in court, and finally a judgment was passed, and government acknowledged it. A circular was written to the universities, but the circular was not very direct. The circular says no staff of the primary school should be disengaged, but they have not backed it up with their salaries. So the staffs are there working, students are in school, but they are not receiving their salaries. Is that the kind of implementation we are talking about? And you expect these people to continue to work for 2, 3 years, not receiving salaries? They have children that needs to go to school also. Those are the.
All right, let's add the messages therein.
Okay, I am in support of Jack's proposed strike. I wonder why government has not privatized the police and military children's schools. Also, why shortfalls in workers' salaries are not in the allowances of the National Assembly members. Government is too insensitive to the welfare of workers and the future of its youth. That was sent in by Oduwole. Then we have this one, still from Oduwole. While the administration of universities Why will the administration of universities be left to the hands of a single union while we have four unions who are shareholders? Too much impunity in our system. For more than 10 years, government refused to fulfill their part of agreement, yet they can buy exotic cars worth billions of naira. They don't care what happens to the common man as much as their own children school abroad. Oduwole still sent in that message. And then we have this one from Shola. I support the strike. What happened in the federal level happens in the state level too. For example, in 2016, Ogun State signed an MOU with Ogun State Labour Leader, and up till date, that MOU has not been implemented. Okay, that was sent in by Shola. Then for the tweets, we have this one from Light Inspired. If federal government can spend 136 billion naira on pilgrimage, why can't they do the needful to the educational sector? They are jokers. That was sent in by Light Inspired via the Twitter handle. Then there might be a negative effect on the economy, but strike is the best. ASU shouldn't back out without realizing their aim. Then we have this from Yemi Da Vinci. The staff school is very important, and then operations though should be made more flexible, and the ones who want independence should be given. If government can find money to purchase new vehicles for politicians regularly and also sponsor pilgrimages, then they can pay the unions. Government is a continuum. How can you sign agreements with ASU, SANU, and other unions for 8 years and not implement it? That's being irresponsible. That was sent in by Yemi Da Vinci. Then we have this from Turner Boards. Primary schools in our universities are part of the welfare packages of staff of the universities. Let them belong to the mainstream. Then this one from Gafar Fatoyinbo. Our leaders and their unrepentant lackadaisical display towards education. Over 34,000 students of Lautech have been at home since 2015. Gafar Fatoyinbo still, let the government do the needful. The 200 billion naira needed annually for our universities is far less than what goes into the National Assembly every year. Mayor of God, can the government meet up with all the demand you requested for? That's a question from Mayor of God. And then the question continues, what is your main demand from the government? Is it payment or facilities to aid teaching? Which one? And then our guest talked about free education to any primary school levels. May I ask how effective that is? Gafar Fatoyinbo scolding the unions for embarking on strike action is an unguided thought. The only language Nigerian leaders understand is strike. Then following Shoakim, the government should honor the agreement it signed with the unions. Mayor of God, welcome in the studio, and I also salute our guest in the studio. Thanks for your clarification and comments. Gafar Fatoyinbo, that's what you get in a country where security is rated above the education of the students. Militants are taken seriously than the workers. Then Moses Idemudia sent in this one. I read the demand of ASU while why they are on strike, and it's very laughable. Everybody is trying to key into ASU strike because every arm wants to prove the relevance. Okay.
Right, Comrade Osman.
Yeah, well, those are comments that need to be answered to. First of all, there is this one that says, can government meet all the demands? Is it payment or we're talking about infrastructure development? We're talking about everything that is in that we're demanding. And government can meet everything. When you talk about a negotiation, it's not a negotiation that was done in one day. It took years. This 2009 agreement we're talking about, it took years. And all the agencies of government, the salaries and wages, the budget, the ministries, they were all represented. They looked at the statistics, they checked the figures, the finances of this nation, and everything was considered before signing this agreement. And this agreement is not just about payment. Payment is just one out of the 12 we have mentioned here. It's just one. We are talking about the infrastructural development of this university. Consider coming to a university and you are saying you are doing research that should be 24 hours. You cannot even fund the electricity, no water supply, and you say you are doing research. What kind of research are you doing? Where you find students sitting on the windows, no enough chairs and things like that. What kind of university is that? So we are talking about the infrastructural development. We are also talking about the payments because you work and you get paid. Even the Bible acknowledges that. At the same time, Mr. Kayode, I want to go back to you. You did say, and this is one of the pains of this country, that how can teachers collect the salary scale of a university? A teacher that is working in a university environment, you are renegating the teachers. Even the lecturers, what do you classify the lecturers? The lecturers are teachers. So why are you now segregating, saying that lecturers should get a high pay and then teachers should be relegated? These are teachers that taught us even how to hold the biro, how to combine A plus B plus A to become ABA. And we are relegating them to the background. It's wrong. We shouldn't do that. Shortage of salaries. My brother, there are two things involved here. We are saying that government has not even implemented the allowances, the end allowances. About 2 years ago, till this August, the last salary that we received, all the universities have been receiving amputated salaries. 70% of your salaries. That is apart from the end allowances not implemented. The ones that they are even paying monthly, it's short by like 30% every month. And we have been keeping quiet. We have been writing to government. We have been expressing our grievances. So if now we say they must do the right thing, are we out of place?
All right, so
We go back to the calls.
Yes, let's open the lines.
08098687344.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Lukman from Ibadan.
Okay.
I want to ask our own guest today that is there any other way for the civil servant to fight for government? Despite the fact if we don't want to, what the fact is the stopping the students at home. These people are spending much time at home. help us find another solution before we go home. Thank you.
All right. Chienye, just add the messages so that
Okay.
guests can wrap it up.
All right. Okay, I have this one. I don't support total close down. No, I wanted your opinion on it, given that what is about happening is not far from it. Okay, that was turned in by Olani Mashan. Then strikes of ASU doctors very painful for its adverse effect on our children, education, and health condition of the citizens. But blaming lecturers, doctors, they don't have students or citizens' healthcare at heart. Sentimental. How will one be working and then be denied entitlements for years, and then we expect them to keep quiet? After agreement is not met, the strike is the last option. Our leaders are heartless and they should be blamed. They're getting their own salaries and allowances. Why shouldn't the lecturers and doctors? Are they sent in that one? Then I don't support the total close down. Okay, Olani Marshall sent the message again. Our politicians are not serious. If it is to approve money in buying bulletproof cars for themselves, it would have been approved. And so this fight is now or never. ASU, NASU, etc. They should not relent. It's long overdue. The government should do the needful. Thanks. Pius from Shaje sent in that one. Then Kayode Ulumide. Mr. Sanu, please, you need to look for elsewhere for your staff school to function properly, because my brother's daughter's performance in that school was nothing to write home about. She has since been moved to one of the private schools where she has since gotten adjusted and doing fine. Please, for staff school, whether primary or secondary school, look for endowments and grants. Kayode Olumide is suggesting that one. And then for the Twitter handle, we have this from Yemi Da Vinci, Mr. Fasuwon. Please give us examples of the non-teaching staff who are suffering from corruption and are being dismissed for reporting it. Could you tell us more about that? Then we have this from Mayor of God. Our government has turned down the education of this country into a mess. Then Turner boards. I don't support ASU demands. ASU is always self-centered. Let the university management account for their IGRs. That's it.
Mr. Fashion.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Uh, I think it's important to say it here that it's not about visiting the sins of the past government on the present. Whoever is going to an office knows that he is taking responsibility of both the asset and the liability. And all these issues have been on ground before. And one of their campaign issues is telling us that they're going to resolve all these issues. They said they use this as a campaign to, and they were voted in. And they are also playing, they are also dilly-dallying in this matter. At the same time, we have heard about recovery of funds from public officers and politicians. Where are these funds? Where are they? We had in the news this morning that we're out of recession. I think that's just a theoretical statement. We want to feel it. And it is only when these demands are met that indeed we can know that we're out of recession. It's what is in your pocket that demands that you can use to request for what you need. Please, I want us to note that TSA is not part of the demand of the non-teaching staffs. We support TSA because we see it as a policy that is helping this country to to take us out of any fraudulent activities. Uh, Mr. Olumide said staff school that we need endowment fund. And what are we talking about? We are saying that these schools should be funded. So do we need to go and beg people for endowment fund? We are saying it's the responsibility of government. They signed it, they agreed to it, they've been doing it. It's because they can fund their own children's schooling abroad. That's why they don't care. So we don't need endowment fund, but we need government to take responsibility.
All right, and obviously this is where we will end it for the day, the midweek edition, Wednesday, the 6th day of September 2017. We appreciate you, Comrade Rotimi Fasuwon, the chairman, Federal University of Agriculture Chapter of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities. And of course, we also appreciate everybody who joined us by our phone, Twitter, and the other platform. And of course, those of you who just listened and enjoyed the program. Dele Ayodo is my name. I say God bless you all. God bless Nigeria and God bless Rock City.
And I am Chienye Egwuonwu. Good morning.